Our First Alert weather team is tracking a shift in our humidity to a more dry setup, but different levels of humidity can actually affect your breathing.
First Alert meteorologist Alexa Minton talked with a UK respiratory specialist about the effects that humidity levels can have on your lungs.
Nothing beats a breath of fresh air, but sometimes our moisture content levels in the air can make that breath a little harder to swallow. Humidity measures the amount of water vapor in the air at any given time, allowing for meteorologists to gauge things like muggy conditions and how humidity might affect how hot the air feels. In high times of humidity, the air is saturated, making it more difficult to breathe.
Too much humidity can cause the airways to swell, which can create an issue.
Breathing in humid air activates nerves in your lungs that narrow and tighten your airways. If you have chronic lung conditions such as asthma or COPD, you might struggle even more.
Well, with really high humidity levels, again, you can have the increase in swelling of the airways, which can cause you to have a slight increase in respiratory rate if you have healthy lungs. But if you do have a breathing condition such as asthma, COPD, or cystic fibrosis, it can exacerbate those conditions.
Higher humidity levels can also make the air stagnant enough to trap pollutants and allergens like pollen, dust, mold, and dust mites. But no matter the humidity levels, doctors encourage hydration to keep those breaths smooth and keep any sort of buildup out of your airways.
Stay well hydrated. Staying hydrated helps to keep those secretions thinner and more manageable. They're easier to cough up when they're thinner.
Taking a deep breath here in Lexington, Alexa Minton, WKYT.
And our First Alert meteorologists keep you updated on the air quality in the area. You can also get the latest on humidity and rain by downloading our WKYT First Alert weather app.